Hello guys, welcome back to the next video of the automation testing framework setup using Playwright and .NET. If you haven't watched the previous video, then I will highly recommend to watch that first and then come back to this video so that you get the better understanding of the setup. Okay, so now if you remember in the previous video, we did the basic setup like creating a project in the Visual Studio and then installing the NuGet packages and extensions in the .cspross file. Now we will create some required folders and class files in our framework. First folder would be driver, where we'll create BrowserFactory constants and configs. Don't worry about this file's name, you'll get to know what they are and why I'm creating this in next few minutes. Stay with me. To create a new folder, you have to do a right click and then click on this add button and then click on this new folder. So we have to give name as drivers. Okay. We have to create next folder for feature files. So for that you just have to do the same thing again and give name as features. Here we'll write the tests in BDD format, in given when then format. Okay, and then we'll create another folder that would be for hooks. Okay, and another folder for page objects. Okay, so here we'll give the name as page objects. So here we'll write the class file for each page of the application under test. And then the last folder would be for steps. So here we'll give the name as steps. So in this folder we'll have the class file for steps where we'll write the code for the steps which we have written in the feature file. Just to make things easy, in this video, we'll cover the drivers folder only and rest other stuff so we'll cover in upcoming videos. So in drivers folder, we have to create three classes. One will be for constants and then for configs and then for BrowserFactory. So we'll be creating constants class because there will be some constants which we have to use across the framework. So for that, we need that class so that we can declare that variables over there. Okay, so for that we have to just do a right click, okay, and click on this add and then click on this new item and select this item for class and then give the name which you want to give for your class. So let's say we'll give the name as constants. Okay, and click on this add. So now you got this class file created. Okay, so we'll remove all these things because we don't need this for now. Okay, and just put a semicolon here. And so there may be many constants here. Okay, but for now we'll add only one that is for browser, because we may need to run our tests in multiple browser, maybe Chrome, Firefox or Edge. So that we have to pass those browsers we have to pass as a variable in our scenario outline. I will pass that you come to know once we come to that feature folder where we'll create the feature files and we'll write the steps. So that time you get to know about those things. But for now we have to create that variable. Okay, so just keep the class name public static class. So this is the class which we'll be creating. Inside this class, we have to declare that browser variable. Okay, so for that you just do tab so that you are able to use these auto suggestions, and then keep the data type as a string and then name of that property would be browser. Okay, and then give name of, we'll be using name of to declare this browser. So this way we declare this browser and we'll be using this in our BrowserFactory to launch the browser as per the value which we have provided in the scenario outline, maybe Chrome, Firefox and Edge. Okay, we have to create a configuration file where we'll declare some properties which we have to use in our framework. If you know, while testing an application, there might be some sensitive or non-sensitive credentials or test data which we have to use in our framework, and we have to use them in efficient and secure way. Okay, so for that what we'll do, we'll just create one file here and we'll give the name as, let's say, UI configs. Okay, and just click on add. So now we got this file created. Now before I move further, let me explain you something. So if you remember, in earlier video we downloaded one NuGet package for user secrets. Okay, so with the help of this NuGet package, what we can do, we can store some secrets or maybe sensitive, non-sensitive data in the .NET secret. For that, what you have to do, you have to just do a right click here, and then once you click on this manage user secrets, then here you will get one secrets.json file created. So here what we can do, we can just pass the values for the properties which we will be declaring in this config file, so that we can use them in our test cases. Okay, for now we'll be just declaring them and passing the value in this .json file. We'll see in upcoming videos. So for now, just come to this file, and here we'll just remove them because we don't need them for now, and just put a semicolon over here. And also instead of class, we'll change it to record, because we don't have to define any method or something. We just have to declare the properties. That's it. So record is okay. Now we'll change it to public. Okay, now here we can declare some properties. So these properties may not be the final one, because we'll be adding or modifying this file as we move forward with the videos. Okay, but for now I'll showcase how we can add them, and we'll be using these properties in upcoming videos. Okay, so for that, what we can do, we'll just declare some properties, maybe base URL or username or password. So what we'll do, we'll just declare few. Okay, so just keep public and keep the data type as a string, and then let's say we will declare for base URL. So keep the name as base URL, and here we'll just change it to init. Okay, and here we'll pass the value as default. So, and we'll pass null operator as well, meaning it should not have the default value of the string for the base URL. Okay, so this is the first property. Likewise, we can have other property as well for base username or password. So let's change it to username. Okay, and for password as well. Okay, so this way we created these three properties for now in this UI config file, and we'll be passing the values of these properties in our secret.json, and then we'll see how we can use them in our test cases. Okay, next we'll create one class file for BrowserFactory, which will have a method for launching the browser. So that method will get the browser name which we have passed in our test cases, and it will launch the browser accordingly. For that, we have to add a test case, and let's keep the class name as BrowserFactory. Okay, so this is the class which gets created. Now remove the necessary things. Okay, now this is the class in which we have to create the method for launching the browser. Let's do that. So just create the method public static, and it will be one asynchronous method. So give async, and this method will return iBrowser. This iBrowser comes from Playwright itself. Okay, and now give the method name. Let's say launch browser. Okay, so this method is static because we have to call this method in hooks, because every test case will need a brand new instance of browser. So we have to launch the new browser every time for each test case, and this method will be called in hooks. You'll get to know about that hooks things later once we proceed in the video. Now, so this method will accept two parameters. First parameter would be scenario context, So if you know, in feature file, we write our test cases using scenario and scenario outline. If you have worked with Cucumber, you might be knowing, but if not, don't worry. Stay with me. You will get to know about those things once we write the test cases in feature file. But for now, we just need to pass first parameter as scenario context. Okay. So this scenario context is nothing, it just holds all the information for a test case. Okay. That's it in simple words. So just keep the instance name as, let's say, s context, and this is the first parameter for this method, and second parameter would be instance of iPlaywright. So just keep name as, let's say, Playwright. Okay. And now here, since this method is returning one iBrowser, so we have to use return statement. And here we can give it like we can get the browser using this as context dot scenario info. Okay. And dot arguments. Okay. And here we'll get the browser for the test case. So for that, what we can do, we can just pass the variable which we created in our constant file, that is called browser. Okay. And we'll use the switch case so that whatever value this statement is returning, according to that, browser will be launched. So let's put the switch statement here. And here, so let's say if this statement is returning Chrome, then Chrome browser will be launched. If Firefox, then Firefox browser will be launched. Okay. So what we can say, we can put it like, okay, if it is Chrome, okay, if it is Chrome, then we have to launch the Chrome browser, right? So what we'll do, we'll just put this, and we have to use await, and we'll use this object, okay, Playwright, and then we have to use Chromium, because Chrome or Edge, they use the Chromium engine, so we can use Chromium for that, and then use the method called launch async. Okay. So in this method, there is something called browser type launch option. Okay, if you see here, this one here, browser type launch options, and here we can pass the channel name and the headed or headless mode. Okay, so we can pass it channel is equal to Chrome, because it has to launch the Chrome browser. So just put Chrome and then comma. We can pass one parameter called headless is equal to true or false. So if we want to run in headed mode, then we can pass it as false. And if you want to run in headless mode, then we can change it to true. For now, I'm keeping it headless as false. So now this is something which will launch the browser in Chrome if this statement is returning Chrome. Okay. Now in the same way, we can do it for we can copy paste. So just to copy this and put it here, and just change it to, let's say, if it is Firefox, or maybe first we'll go for Edge. Okay. So if it is Edge, then again we just have to change it to this part, Edge. Okay. And if it is Firefox, then we can do that as well. So just paste it here again, and then change it to Firefox. Okay. And here we need to, instead of Chromium, because Firefox does not use Chromium, so for that we have something called Firefox. Okay, so we can use this, and here we need to change that Firefox channel name. Okay, so now this way, if this statement is something which returns Chrome, then Chrome browser will be launched. and iBrowser for that will be returned by this method. Okay. In the same way, if it is Edge, then Edge browser will be launched and the iBrowser instance will be returned from this method. Okay. So now, what about default case? Let's say we didn't pass anything. So for that, what we can do, we can just put it like this. And here, because in .NET we have this enhancement now, this switch case is something which we are using the enhanced version. This is not something which we have used so far, the traditional one. So that's why you might be seeing some different way of writing this, but it has the same meaning as the traditional one. Okay. So now we can put it like this. So meaning if we didn't pass anything, then in that case, it will launch the Chrome browser. Okay. So now this way, we can remove this from here. Okay. So now this way, we designed our browser factory, and this browser factory will launch the browser which we have passed in our test case. So this browser factory method, which is a launch browser, we will call in our hooks and will launch the browser accordingly. Okay. In next video, we'll discuss about hooks and we'll write our hooks file. We will be writing code which are required before and after a test case. Also, we'll write the code to load the UI configs. That's all for now. See you in the next video. If you like my effort, please encourage me. I'll be creating more such content. Thank you.